So when I said 0.7 seconds, I was not joking. This is a 0.7 second clock, and this is actually so fast that I had to build this using repeaters set to 2 ticks and not 4 ticks. So yeah, it shoots pretty fast. Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be releasing my 0.7 second sand tray. Now I know I just released the sandcomp a while ago, so people might complain a bit, but this is actually special in a few ways. First, I wanted to make a sandcomp that would drop all of the sand in one layer so that it could hold many shots. So I started off down here, and being sad actually did make a sand tray, and he explained the process of how he developed one. So I originally tried doing something similar to how he was doing it, and I didn't want to deal with the wobbling, so I sectioned these off. So the issue with being sad's idea was no matter how you line it up, it's mathematically possible. Like, no matter how you line it up, it's always going to be possible for sand to not end up making it out. Because what he was doing is he was having TNT get shot in from over here, and you would have boosters like this. He would then have the boosters explode, where these would rotate between one game tick and another game tick. So it'd go like 1, 2, 1, and then 3. I decided to try and avoid this idea because first, it's mathematically possible, no matter how much TNT you have, that there's a certain spot above this, which sand could be, where when this goes off, it could boost it above another one of these in a way that this would not be able to apply enough horizontal velocity to get it out of the barrel or to the back. So I tried to do this kind of thing where it's possible to overcome those kinds of issues. I tried that with these aligned in. I tried a lot of things, but I came to the conclusion that this wasn't going to work very well without a decent amount of TNT, or at least not being very messy. So I decided to move on to brainstorm some other ideas. This is what me and Lightless did next. This was more of a brainstorming practice than an actual cannon. I think he made it all nice and everything. I don't know if it actually works now. Basically, the idea is you would basically just section it off. But the issue with this is, unfortunately, it requires a lot of TNT to make everything work smoothly as well. And we also had to have TNT dipping with enchantment tables to apply the appropriate Y velocity for this sand at the end. We also had to separate all of these so that there wouldn't be exposure to the ones in the back. And this actually did provide some valuable insight. The first of that being we started playing with the ideas of having directional exposure or like a separation. I ended up finding a better way of doing this. So from there, I tried to do I think this kind of system. I don't know how the wiring looks like right now, but I believe what I tried to do is I tried to just have it game tick, so like this would explode, then this would explode, and so on. I tried a lot of things. I didn't have this set up at first, so this took a little bit to figure out. So yeah, this was where I was getting close. This is where I put in a lot of time, or this is where I really worked on developing this setup, which is actually what ended up working in the end. Now I'm going to move over to the first version that actually worked like perfectly, and I decided that this was about as good as it was going to get. So you may notice there are 3 long trapdoors here, and I discovered it to be more efficient to do it with 2. I played around with different lengths, so now this is what the current system looks like, and I think this is definitely the best. Also, this is actually even faster than anyone else's Sandplate I've ever seen, because this is tunneling as well. So what happens is all of these boosters are activated the same game tick, but there's the order. The way I have this wired forces these to get rendered from back up to front. So what'll happen is these will explode before anything in front of it gets processed. These will then readjust their position. I'll shoot up here, and you may see there may be some issues with wobbling, but as long as there's enough booster in the back, it works out that it doesn't really become an issue. But all this will come up here, explode, and this is pretty simplified, but this will explode, push all this up to here, explode. Then this will get calculated, get shot up to here, explode. This will then get calculated, get shot up to here, explode, so on, all the way down to here. So it happens in one game tick, and it looks like everything is just exploding at the same time, but stuff's going off like in here. And I think if you do look at the tracers of it, so you see all this activates at the same time. And these are the explosions for it. So there's a little bit of purple back here from the feedback loop, but it's pretty consistent. Everything is going off like right up in here. And I think it should look the same if I... Okay, I'm gonna get a lot of spam when I do this. Okay, never mind. As you'll see, we have a lot of 0.5s. Oh my gosh, someone fired. Are you kidding me? Okay, there we go, I got it. So there are a lot of 0.5s. There's not really much feedback I can see in this. So this setup does work really well. So I'll fire it now, and you can see what it looks like. As you can see, everything is exploding at the same time. If I turn explosions off, as you can see, this stuff kind of just bounces around in here. There are ladders up here. I might end up replacing this with trapdoors to make it nicer, but there's like just enough time for it to fall down, I think. It might even be going off in midair. It doesn't really matter though, it does compress the TNT this fast. This stuff gets shuffled around. As you can see, everything is going off at the same time. See all the expansions. And because of this system right here with this trapdoor facing back, when the TNT does its raycasting, it only really affects the sand in front of it. And any TNT that's on this block behind it is not affected very much at all by this, and is greatly overcome by the TNT in the back of it. So there's no way for this to really flow out. And this is also, since all these are tunneling, it's an extremely fast rendering time, and this is basically the fastest rendering time that is really possible with the sandcomp of this size, unless you're going to do some really dumb stuff. But this is the fastest practical way to render sand that I've ever seen. When I fire this, I always break the wrong redstone. You'll see that this gets compressed. I might be a little too late. Oh, there we go. So you'll see that. This is actually 4 wide, but it's going through a 2 wide hole. I'll show it again. You can pretty easily see what it's doing. It's retracting both of these pistons, and then as that sand falls down, it pushes everything into these 2 blocks, which compresses it really nicely. So, yeah. Okay, I've enabled tracers again, and I'm gonna fire. I think sand's toggled, hopefully, we'll see. But I'll show you what the tracers look like for sand. It's very nice. Everything shoots out in a pretty straight line. It gets a little bit jumbled up over here, but I mean, that's not an issue. There's plenty of room to put a booster here. And if it does become an issue, you have to add TNT like this. I have this here because I was testing to see how much you need. But this is a version for Cosmic, which is what I'm going to be releasing. I kind of wanted to hold back on releasing this until I'd made a really, really fast antigrav, which is what I plan on using this kind of scene comp for. I've not really thought about order of entities, to be honest, yet, but if this has to go off way sooner, I'll figure it out. You can just bounce the TNT, so you need to have the sand rendered way before the shot. You can have all the sand shoot over here, and then you can have a dispenser here. That could then, the sand could fall a bit, it could boost it, compress it to a corner, and then it could fall back down again. You could have more TNT go off. I've even seen cannons where you'd have like another dispenser here with TNT, and it would just literally bounce it, except I would probably never use that in one of my cannons unless I really had to. See, I was going to wait and release this until I had my antigrav done, my fast antigrav, but I've showed this to some other people, and some other people have already started using it on their cannons, and making their own versions of it. So I thought I'd just release it now. I'd say the main takeaway from this cannon, as far as what's different, is this system right here, where there's the directional exposure. I mean, also there's this, but I mean, I've already seen this being done before. Also, one other thing I want to point out really quick is this is an example on kind of a like, this isn't really a practical cannon I would use, at least at this point. I may release it eventually, but I'm still trying to look in to see if this is ever going to be practical, because I think it'd be really cool to use this first. But you can actually change the order, or which side this goes to. So see over here, I have this on a comparator. And if you don't have anything special here, I'm pretty confident that this can change depending on which way the cannon's facing. I don't think it matters in this case since this only shoots north and south. But because there's a comparator here, and these sides both are pretty much identical, it'll process this side first and this side second, which will cause the TNT to be aligned to the south side of this, which will get it closer to the booster. Some other things to note is, I think if I put like a repeater here instead of here, I'm pretty sure that also affects it. So just to note, if you're doing things like this yourself, you do have to be careful that it's like as identical as possible, or else it can mess up. So yeah, hope you enjoyed. Also let me know if you like this kind of more conceptual release, or make something like this, or if you'd rather just have straight cannon releases, because I know a lot of people like to just use smaller cannons, but at the same time I am interested in doing these kinds of things every once in a while. Also guys, big news. Some people have been wondering what cannon server I use, and this is actually Lightless' server. Lightless is willing to start experimenting a little bit more with the public. So I'll leave a link to Codex Discord in the description. And the same people who've been working on the server for a while are also working on developing a faction server. So that may also be coming out later as well. But yeah, if you're interested, feel free to join the Discord server and just message Lightless. And you should be able to get you whitelisted. This entire server is also community funded right now, but to help pay for the server, you can purchase private worlds where everything will be your own plot, basically, but it'll be a world, so you'll have pretty much as much space as you would need. It's $20 for a private world, and you'd get access to all of the like tracers and other stuff that's being worked on your world, and I think it might eventually be threaded as well. I'm not entirely sure on that. So yeah, if you feel the need for your own world and you can afford that, also link that in the description too. So see you guys later, and the link for the cleaned up Schem will be in the description.